Hi, Hope. How are you, Hope? How are you doing today, Hope? Hi, Hope. We're here with Hope and the Dowses with the Dowse Orchard today. We're going to talk with them about their orchard and Hope a little bit and how the orchard has a play in Sherborn. We're here for the Sherborn Business Association today. We're going to end up over in the farm stand in a few minutes and talk with them over there. But for now, let's talk to Alex and John Dowse. Alex? Jim Neal. Hi. John?
Hi.
Pleasure. Hi. Can you tell us about your operation here? How long you've been in operation?
Well, the Dowse family, the Dowse Orchards, came into this area in 1778. They actually settled in Boston in 1630 and were merchants in Charlestown until the Battle of Bunker Hill. So it was far safer to be in the countryside. And since that period of time, this farm has been subsistence farming. It's been fruits and vegetables. It was a leather shop, a shoe factory, you name it, we've done it. And today, in the last three generations, it's been a fruit farm.
And you've been on a hilltop in beautiful Sherborn here. It's gorgeous where you are.
Well, the parcels that we have, and the one that's here is we do a lot of our picking around in this thing. We have another parcel that we actually can overlook the city of Boston from, so it's got the best views in town.
And over here, I noticed some golf course over on this side of the parcel.
Yeah, you can get kind of spoiled in paradise.
Yeah. Can I play a little golf while we're here?
Well, there's plenty of golf balls.
All right, plenty of golf balls. So folks come up here to shoot a little.
But there are our neighbors that lease some of the land from the orchards here, and it's a nice recreational facility that's really kind of plays into the scenic beauty of the orchard.
So your siblings, the two of you, run the operation.
Yep.
And how do you split the duties? What do you do, and what does John do?
With a big whip. Over the years we've developed different places where we specialize in. I oversee the orchards and the general finances of the company, and John oversees the help in the stand and keeping the work doing.
Okay.
And we both do long-term planning and stuff. We're a small operation, so all of these trees on an annual basis are trimmed, and John and I do that alone. We have hired help in here in the summertime to help with the vegetable planting, helps with the harvest, and helps with some of the summer maintenance work. And of course, we've got a farm stand that sells the products we're raising, from the vegetables to the fruit and stuff. That starts early May, and we go until December.
So you're growing what? You're growing apples here?
What you see here are apples. Of the apples that we raise, we have about 35 different kinds, both in this block and in two other blocks. We start harvest usually mid-August. We'll be picking apples until mid-October. And with the different varieties, they all ripen at different times. We go back and we store the apples for sale at the store in a big cold storage back at the farm.
So we're finishing up an apple here that we started a minute ago. It's very delicious. Thank you very much for that. We're down in the orchard, and we're talking to Alex and John Dowse about their operation. We're going to talk and ask about the trees and how they grow and what you have to do with them and what your operations are down here in the orchard.
Well, in the life cycle of the trees, we start off in January, February, March. As Alex said, we prune the trees. The two of us come in here, and then we run into we start a spraying program. In the springtime, we practice what we call IPM, which is Integrated Pest Management. There's a lot of science. We have researchers at the university that guide us and help us quite a bit, tell us when different insects are coming in, have different disease models so we can figure out when we need to spray and try to use as little as possible.
Types of sprays that the manufacturer designed not to have residue at the time of harvest. So that when you come in and pick an apple, you can shine it up and eat it without being concerned about any residue that's left or anything. So that, but this is, the other parts of this orchard is, we are so open and so close to the woodlands, we get a lot of deer damage in here. And I was nipping away at the field over there that's all behind fence to keep the deer out. We've got young trees planted at the house. We've got electric fence, and our next step will be to fence the entire orchard.
So how do you prune these trees?
Well, it's all done by hand. And it's like you said, These trees all have what we call a central leader, a single stem that goes up. We want branches that have new fruiting wood on them every year. Next year's crop is set on the trees the previous July. We'll open them up so the sunlight gets into them. We'll open them up to take out the old wood so new wood grows. And we'll bring the heights down to keep them at an area that we can reach them. So that it's practiced art as well as science. So
How did you learn that?
Well, you learn it by doing it. And you do it under the guidance. John, when he's in school, had
He's
special...
still going to school?
No, well,
No. He graduated from Stockbridge School of Agriculture, and as part of his lesson work was pruning university orchards. I worked with my dad for 20 years, and through extension and everything else, my learning came from working with him. So
I had a college professor that used to like to put a tree on the board and say, I would like to prune this branch, and this branch. But Jonathan would prune this branch, and that branch. So basically his comment was that it's all what you see when you're pruning the tree. It's not an absolute, this is the way you do it. It's a little bit of what you see and what you're looking at.
these trees are very vigorous anyway. So
And when it comes picking time, do you pick it all yourself?
We pick it all ourselves.
we have a crew that comes in that does the picking for it. That's 1 year's growth in there. Next year that would set a fruit bud, and the following year would have an apple on it. And when, they can sometimes, the sucker growth can be as long as 3 or 4 feet. But our harvest crews, we do some pick your own where the public can come in and pick them right off the tree and take them home that way. And then we've got a crew that comes in and will pick Monday to Friday. And they'll harvest it, put it in bulk bins, we bring it back and cool it to the store, and then pack it there and bring it back for sale. So,
What about your other things you sell in the store, peaches and things like that?
well, some peaches we get from other growers. We're not raising peaches on this farm because of the problem we have with deer, but we do a fair amount of vegetables, multi-season vegetables, and when you get back to the farm you can see the tomatoes and the lettuce and all of that. So that's, we're doing multi-crops of those lettuce. We're planting about 4 or 5 times a year at the same place. We run a program on our fields here that we're putting compost back into the field to build organic material every single year. So it's very productive land. We've got plenty of water here, so very well.
In terms of Sherborn community, you have community come out and pick in the fall. You have a pick
When we're open
cycle.
to the public, we have people from everywhere show up. So not just Sherborn, it's goes all the way into Cambridge and Boston and
Really?
South Shore and everything else. So we have a lot of people. We open just on weekends. We really gear our pick your own, so that there's always apples for young kids to come and pick every week, so that they're not stuck trying to pull something out of the top of the tree, and so that we kind of work it that way. A little bit less rigid than a lot of orchards. We don't pick as many apples that way, but I think the time that people have here is much more good quality time.
Good.
So,
We're here with John Dowse behind the farm stand in Sherborn, and we're going to talk with John about the tree plantings and about the vegetable plantings, the fields that he has here. Can you tell us what you're doing here with the tree plantings over here?
On this side here, this is a new planting of trees we put in this spring. There's approximately 250 trees planted here. When my father planted the orchards that we saw down the other location.
That was what year did he do that?
Approximately 1947, 46, 47.
Was the year you were born?
No, wait. I was quite a few years after that.
I'm sorry. Okay.
But he planted those trees at 35 feet by 30 to 35 feet. The newer tree, and those are what we call old standards. They're full-size apple trees. The trees we are planting today, I'm planting 6-foot by 12-foot spacing. In this section here, I will be putting a trellis system to support the trees, and that's why you see all the posts. The other thing you can see is the amount of deer pressure I have here is forced me to put up an electric fence to protect these trees to allow them to grow. To mature. We are in the progress of pursuing deer fencing for all the orchards, and something we're going to need to do to keep them going. As Alex said earlier, we estimate about $20,000 to $30,000 of crop loss in the apples.
Wow. So the tall posts here will be for your trellis.
For a trellis. We'll do 3 wires. These trees will only get to about 10 foot in height. And the wires will be there.
Maturity.
For maturity.
Or will you keep them cut at that?
We'll keep them cut at that height, but they won't. An old standard tree would be 18 to 20 feet in height. These will only get about 10 or 12. We'll maintain that height. So that we can maximize production and not have to use as much labor to harvest the fruit, because you're not going up as far in the tree.
And these trees will mature at that height, and then they will be good producers for how long?
On a dwarf tree, we're looking at about 25 to 30 years.
And what will you do then?
We will pull them out and replant it with the same variety or a newer variety, a newer technology.
Okay. And so farther down the hill, you have what's happening down there?
Down here, we actually, at this point in time, I have crops coming in from beginning of May right till the end of October that we're picking. And as I said, we're selling the apples through until the end of December. The very far end of the field, those kind of furry plants are actually asparagus. The asparagus we start picking right around the 1st of May, and it's about a 6-week harvest. That is a perennial crop. That means I plant it once and I'll harvest it for 10 to 15 years. But it's a 6-week harvest cycle I have on those. Then I need them to allow to mature to build up the roots for the next year's crops. In this field here, I raise tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, summer zucchini, cucumbers, lettuces, scallions, beets.
All maturing at different cycles? Or?
All different cycles. We'll do multiple plantings. We do irrigate this. I do a lot with drip irrigation and black plastic. Drip irrigation allows me to water just the plant and not everything else. So it's a much more efficient way, and you maximize the use of your water.
And what's the source of your water for irrigation?
For this location here, we have an old well that was hand dug by my grandfather. It's about 15 to 20 feet and gives us 160 gallons of water a minute. It actually sits on a spring, so.
Okay. So how do you maintain all this? I think you have some tractors that you want to show us.
Yeah, we do. We do. We have a fleet of, we have 2 main tractors that do the bulk of work, a couple of older tractors that we use to do things here and there on trailers.
Well, let's go take a look at your tractors.
All right. There's nothing I can do at this point in time except look at it and watch it go in the trees.
So how do you deal with, that? You got that much on a branch here?
You generally, in the winter when I prune, we will cut back 6 inches into unaffected wood and remove it out of the orchard. And then my options for the springtime, if the models are showing right, for an infectious period is a streptomycin spray on the trees. So we're dealing with 4 or 5 new pests.
So John, you have how many tractors?
I have 4 tractors. 2 are newer tractors, which are Kubotas, that do the bulk of my work, run my mowers, run my sprayers. We purchased one Kubota in 03, and the other one we purchased in 08. Price tag roughly on those are around $40,000 to $45,000 a piece.
And this one is what?
This one here, we purchased brand new in 1985. It was actually one of the last internationals made before it was bought out by Case, which is now Case International. And I did find an old sales slip for this tractor a couple of years ago, and I think we paid $18,500 for this thing in '85.
And it's worth what now?
If if it was in good shape, we could probably get about 5,000 to 6,000 for it. One of the things is that we are really self-efficient. We do majority of the repairs. We probably do about 75 to 80%. We just replaced the rear windows in that tractor over there.
So you do all your own work on the tractors as well? Yeah. So you're a mechanic as well as a
mechanic, carpenter. Yeah, I think the farmer is a jack of all trades and master of none.
Very good. Okay. Let's go in and see your stand. See
all right.
What you're selling.
Sure.
We're here with John Dowse at Dowse Orchards, the Dowse Farm Stand. And we're talking with John about his operations and how they all work. Greetings, John. I want to talk with you about in the springtime in May and so forth. You do potted plants. Tell us what you do in the early part of the season.
In the springtime, start off our season, the farm stand opens up in May. We have one greenhouse here that I do raise bedding plants, hanging baskets, and vegetable transplants for that we sell all through our own stand.
And what kind of flowers do you grow?
We grow a wide range of annuals, from petunias to marigolds to impatiens, and then some real nice combination hanging baskets of purple winters.
And you open the season with that until about what time?
Until June, the middle of July.
And then what do you start selling at that point?
Well, May we start off with these. About the beginning of June, I'm hoping to be into some of the vegetable crops. I do have asparagus that do come in the beginning of May. Some of the first crops I pick are my lettuces, peas in the springtime, and then we start getting into summer and zucchini and cucumbers. Tomatoes start rolling in about the middle of July to the end of July.
So let's go take a look at your operations.
All right.
So we're now in the Dowse Orchards farm stand. John, can you tell us about the Commonwealth Quality Massachusetts Dowse Orchards Award?
This is a seal that the Department of Ag Resources has been working on developing in the last year through an accreditation program. You can apply for the seal to help sell your products as being a true Massachusetts grown product. We've gone and we've gotten the seal for tomatoes and apples, and it's a bunch of criteria falls on a whole bunch of different things, from spraying programs to how you're watering. Best agricultural practices are being used for them to consider your acceptance into the program.
And you showed me here a picture of the first tractor?
This was the first tractor my grandfather purchased from Tommy Devitt's. Devitt's Garage is actually the site that Rose's Automotives hit. Back in the 20s and the 30s, there used to be a dealership. I think that was up until about the 50s. They used to sell cars out of that location.
And this says two-cylinder Hercules engine, 7 horsepower.
Yep.
Wow, $540 new.
$540 new.
Those are the days. Made 1937, somewhere between there and 1946. How about that? Congratulations. You still have it?
No, we don't. My cousin told me that my grandfather sold that to Billy Williams. He used to be a nursery down on South Main Street.
Okay, great. So you have in here, what you have, I see an assortment of your products back here.
We, in the course of the year, as I said, we open up the stand in May. We grow our own hanging baskets, bedding plants. We bring in some to supplement what I don't grow. And then throughout the course of the year, we are raising quite a bit of our own produce. As I said, one of my first crops is asparagus. I raise, scallions, beets, beans, summer zucchini, tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers.
And all the fresh is picked straight from your garden
Picked right
yourself.
from the fields and brought up on a regular basis.
Well, that's true. Well, congratulations on your operation.
Yep.
Congratulations on your sales, and I hope they work well for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for helping us out.
All right.